Suspended chords are one of the easiest ways to start making your playing sound a little bit more elegant and intricate without having to learn a whole bunch of new extra stuff. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use suspended 2 and suspended 4 chords with 3 of your comfortable home position chords, D, A, and G. In addition to that, with each of those chords, I'm going to show you a little bonus trick that you can do outside of the suspended world to start elevating your playing just a little bit. Okay, we're going to start with a little bit of very basic theory, and then we're going to move on quickly to the good stuff. So a chord is built, major or minor, a chord is built of 3 unique notes. Even if you're playing this full 6-string G right here, you're only playing 3 unique notes. It's G, B, and D. And then you have repeat octaves of those same notes in that shape. So the notes that are required to build a chord are a 1, 3, and a 5 interval. Okay, so what's an interval? A key has 7 unique notes, and we refer to each of those notes by a number, 1 through 7. And that number is just determined by the order in which they appear in that key. So let's take the key of C. You have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. 7 unique notes. So if we say the 7 of C, we're talking about the B. So a chord is built from a 1, a 3, and a 5 interval. And the 3 is the magic interval that says whether it's major or minor. If it's a major 3, it's major. If it's a minor third, then it's minor. The 1 and the 5 always stay the same. That's why power chords are so powerful, because they're not major or minor. They only have the root and the fifth, so they're sort of indeterminate. That's what's really cool about these suspended chords as well, because a suspended chord, rather than adding notes on to that 1, 3, 5, it's actually replacing the 3. Okay, and we're talking about suspended 2 and suspended 4 chords. The 2 and the 4 refer to those intervals that we're talking about. So a standard C major chord would be C, E, and G. A C sus2 is C, D, and G. We're skipping that third interval. Same thing with a suspended 4, except instead of the 2, it would be the 4. So you'd have C, F, G as your 3 unique notes in that chord. So that's really the important thing to note, is that when you're playing these suspended chords, you're not playing it on top of the third. It replaces the third. The third does not appear in a suspended chord. Okay, so theory out of the way. Let's just start on our D chord here. Okay, so a lot of you probably already know the suspended shapes for the D, because that's where everybody starts with it. But just in case, let's review them really quickly. So you have your D major shape right here. You add your pinky onto the 3rd fret of the high E string. That gives you a suspended 4. Now here's a brief little bonus. Since we know we're changing this note, that means we know that this is the 3rd right here. So if you suspend it right here, you're replacing that 3 with the 4 up here, the next note in the scale. So there's your sus4 for D, and lift all of that up. Again, we're only changing that 1 string. There's your sus2, okay? And E is the note that we're adding, or that we're replacing the F sharp with. So that is your sus2. Neither major nor minor. Now, one brief note is you're often gonna see, rather than seeing a D sus4 written out, you'll often see what's just a D sus. And when it just says sus, it's referring to the 4. If it's a 2, usually it would just say D2 or D sus2, which are the same things. All right, so there are your positions for your D chord. Now I said for each of these chords, I'm gonna give you a little bonus that you can do with it. So we're gonna briefly sever this shape from D in our brain. We see this shape, we think D. From now on, this shape is no longer D. This shape is just a major shape that you can move anywhere on the neck and access different voicings of different major chords. So right here, we play a D. Now, the note that we're paying attention to is this one right here. This is the D. This is, well, one of the 2 Ds in that chord that we're playing. And this is the one that moves with us. So if we move that note up to here, build that chord around it, those 3 notes equal a G chord, because this note right here is a G. Move it up 2 more frets to the 10th fret. Now we're at an A. Now what's really cool is to start jamming those together, but mix it in with your home position chords. So we can kind of jam on your D, G, A, D, G, A, D, G, A, A, G, D. So for D, D sus2, D major, D sus4, your bonus content, slide that whole shape up to 8 for a G, up to 10 for an A. And also note, anywhere you want to take that, say you want to play an F chord, but you want to do it somewhere different, hey, right here, rooted on that 6th, not rooted, but that's kind of how I think of it. 6th fret there. Up here, there's another C right there. That little idea, if you haven't already started going down the path of triads, that's a great sort of starting point to start thinking in terms of triads. All right, now let's talk about A sus2 and A sus4. So you have your major right here where you're stacking these 3 notes together. Your sus is just gonna add on right here on the B string, 3rd fret. So that's a D note to suspend that 4th for your A chord, okay? Now, if you think about what we did over here for D, adding that pinky, and then how we got to the suspended 2 from there, we lifted this up and went 2 frets lower with that open string. We're gonna do the exact same thing with this A chord. We're gonna lift up that ring finger and get that open B ringing, right? Because B, A, B. There's our 2nd. So A sus2. Really, really pretty voicing here. Then, of course, mix that up with your D. Get a lot of mileage over a very small amount of movement. Now, the bonus information with this A that I talked about outside of the suspended is really starting to understand how this shape can make fills very, very easy to do. So what I want you to try to do is, instead of fretting it this way, which is the way that most people will learn to fret it in the beginning, I want you to just bar that 1st finger across it. And I know what you're thinking here, you're gonna have trouble leaving that open E open. Ignore the open E. Let your flesh mute that open E. We're already playing an E right here. Now, what you have available to you is all of these hammers right here. Okay, so all I'm doing there is on the D and G strings, I'm hammering 2 to 4 and 2 to 4. Okay, we're just barring right there, so I'm not even really thinking about that 2. All I have to do is take my ring finger or my pinky sometimes, because I have small hands, and just kind of. Now, getting back to our suspended, we know our suspended is right here, so we can just say in that same position, rather than adding our pinky to hit that suspended 4, we just add it on with our middle finger here. And you can even bonus add the next note up here at the 5th, because this is all related to the minor pentatonic. That A is part of that minor pentatonic shape, so all of the notes from that work for fills. All kinds of fills that are right available to you right around that A position. Finally, we're going to talk about G and how to sus2 and sus4 G. This one is a little less common because most of you probably fret G this way, and if not this way, then you probably do this way. Now, the other fretting for G, the other common one, is this one right here. Ignoring your 1st finger, you have your 3rd on the 3rd of the low E, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and your pinky on the 3rd fret of that high E. Okay? Now, a lot of times people ask, okay, is this the right way to play G? Is it this? Is it this? The answer is that they're all right. I use them all for, well, actually, I almost never use this one here. But I use this one all the time, and I use this one all the time. And it just depends on where I'm coming from in that part of the song, where I'm going to next after that part of the song, and what I plan on doing during that chord in the song. But one distinct advantage that this G shape gives you is it gives you access to the sus4 position. Now the sus4 that we're adding here is going to be up here. This one's a little more challenging than the D and the G, the D and the A. But what you're going to do is you're going to add your 1st finger to the 1st fret of the B string to add a C. G, A, B, C. sus4. And you'll notice the note that we're replacing using that C is this open B. G, A, B. 1, 2, 3. We're replacing the 3rd with the 4th. Okay, so you have your G, sus4 right here. Now be careful though, because notice the way I'm fretting it. I'm actually not doing a very good job here. I'm playing a G add 11 right now, because this note right here is also a B. And remember, I said to play a sus chord, you have to remove that third. So what you can do here is just essentially mute that string. Just lift that finger off, and more than likely, this finger is going to mute that anyway in this position, because it's kind of an awkward position. So you have G, nothing, muted, D, G, C, there's our 4, back to G. Very pretty voicing. Okay, super cool voicing in there. Now your G sus2, you can do it in either place, but I think this one's probably going to be more comfortable for most of us. So we're going to do the same thing. You have your G fretted here. We're going to remove our third right here. We're not playing our third up here because I'm fretting the D, the third fret up on the second string. So we're going to remove our first finger, and we're going to add that to the second fret of the G string, which is going to give us an A note in there. G, A, second note, second interval in for a G. Okay, so now our notes are G, nothing, or with the sus2, you could actually leave that open, because that's an A as well. But usually people will kind of leave that one closed up, muted with that finger. Makes it a little, sometimes when you add that A in, it can get a little bit muddy in there. So I usually will just kill that one. So you have G, open, D, A, D, G. Okay, so you have your G major, G sus4, G major, G sus2. The bonus content for your G position chord is to think about your open and 2 on your A, D, and G strings. Those are all going to be available for hammers and pull-offs. Okay, so we're going to think about open and 2 for all of those. I'm going to start on the A string, then I'm going to go to the D string, then I'm going to go on the G string and just kind of show you what that looks like. Now, once you've got those open and 2 down, then particularly for your D and G strings, we're going to forget about A for now, but for those D and G strings, we're going to add the 4 as well. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to fret my G in this sort of traditional way. Then I'm going to lift my pinky and second finger up. So we're only fretting these 2 strings right now, 3 on the G string, or 3 on the E string and the B string right here. Okay, now your pinky is going to be hanging out over here, moving around from 4 on the G string and from 4 on the D string, okay? Now this is going to be tough for some of you, but it's a great stretch for that pinky. So all we're going to be doing is messing around with the open 2-4 on D and on G. Okay, and I'm just going to strum around, kind of accent different notes and almost come up with sort of some halfway melodic stuff. Really easy to just add some dynamics to what really is otherwise just kind of strumming a G chord in there. So there you have it. You have D major, D sus2, D sus4, A major, A sus2, A sus4, and G major, G sus4, and G sus2. Plus your bonuses of taking your D up to A and G, using your A as a playground for fills in there, and adding in those pinky extensions for your G chord. I hope that this is helpful for you, and I really view every person's musical journey as a sacred thing, so I'm honored to have been invited into your journey, and I hope you'll invite me back again. But if not, then thanks for hanging out with me today. Hope you learned something, and keep this thing in your hands.